Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. We've got a diverse show today. Going to talk a lot about different sports. First up is football. Two student athletes are going to join us. Kacz, our quarterback for the Bengals, and Casey is bringing along Mike Doherty. He's been bringing him along for a long time, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to go into the ice rink, and Nick Carriere, the head coach of the men's team, is going to join us, and Nick is bringing along Taylor Pryce, a forward from Newmarket, Ontario. And then into the pool we go. Dan Allen, the head coach of the Bengals. Dan's bringing along Tom Mermagen, a sophomore from, of all places, Plymouth, England. And then we also have a new segment called Joes and Prose. So we got a big show for you. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. You know, in order to throw a football, you've got to go like this. This is some of the interesting stuff we talk about off camera, isn't it? And we're joined now by the football quarterback of the Bengals, Kacz. Welcome, Casey, the senior. And Casey has along Mike Doherty, the junior wide receiver for the Bengals. And there's a reason why I'm saying all that, because either he's brought you along or you've brought him along for about, 12, 13 years now. So they go back in their friendships, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, let's talk about this interesting season. It's kind of like, whoa, kind of roller coaster here. And yet here we are with a game left and a chance to make the ECAC's postseason berth. Tell me your thoughts about the season, Casey.
It's been an interesting season, to say the least. A little bit disappointing. Being 5-4, I feel like we could be 7-2 right now. We played good enough to win some of the games that we lost, I feel. So it's disappointing, but at the same time, winning 3 in a row is a good feeling, and hopefully we can win the last one now. Has
it been a little disappointing for you, Mike? Or, I mean, despite that, though, there's a great opportunity to finish strong, 3 straight wins, and get into the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I had my heart set on playoffs, and I think the whole team did. And we didn't expect to lose those 2 games that we did earlier in the season, but lately, the past 3 games, we've been on track, and we're looking to finish the season strong, and next year, hopefully, we can make playoffs.
Yeah, you talk about those 2 games, the Ithaca game and the Alfred, the double overtime game. There's a lot of what-ifs in this season, but as Jerry would say, it's water under the bridge and time to move on to the next game. So I do want to talk to you, though, about your friendships and how it all started. You've been throwing footballs back and forth to each other for 12, 13 years now. Casey, how did it all start? Give us a little synopsis of the history of you two.
Well, I was playing for TTFA, the Town of Tonawanda Football Association.
Okay.
Mike came and joined our team. I think it was my 2nd year playing or 3rd year playing, and Mike came and joined the team. And right away, the first night he came into the gym, he was the biggest kid in the gym, the tallest kid. So we put him at tight end, and he caught a lot of balls, and we've been friends ever since.
Now, I mean, you make it sound like you guys were adults in 18, 19, but this, I mean, we're going back. You were 8 years old when this all happened, and can you remember back then? And can you remember this guy?
I don't know. I was a pretty shy kid, and I didn't really know any of them when I showed up. But they put me in right away, and me and him started clicking like we knew each other.
How about that?
Our whole life.
And so you play a little youth football, and then you kind of go your separate ways in terms of schools. You're a Town of Tonawanda, and you're Amherst. And so you go into the Sweet Home District, you go home into the Kenton District, and you really don't play with each other anymore. You play against each other. Yeah. Is that correct? And what happened in those games, Mike? You can be honest.
Yeah, all 4 years they beat us pretty good.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen very often in Kenton. But do you remember those games?
Oh,
you guys talk about those games now?
Yeah, it was always exciting getting to play against Ken East and Mike. Just because he was basically the whole team, and he played every position. So it was fun going against him because he got to play against me on defense when I was on offense. He was covering our receivers.
Is that right?
So, yeah, I was literally playing against him, and it was exciting. And, you know, it's funny because he was saying we beat him all 4 years. They were close the 1 year, and he actually intercepted me, but it didn't count. The refs called it incomplete, so he was pretty upset about that.
You mean we couldn't go up in the booth and review it? What happened on that play? Did you bobble it or something? Or
someone knocked it down, and I ended up scooping it right before it hit the ground, and I took off running, and then the one ref blew the whistle saying it hit the ground.
And to this day, you feel that you...
Well, I was told that the other ref came up to him and said it didn't hit the ground, and
Okay.
he kind of ruined the play.
So it could have been a pick six, too.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
on my way
goodness
into
gracious.
the end zone.
It's amazing. You played every position. That's incredible. Offensive tackle,
Well,
center.
I didn't play any
I know,
O-line,
you say. There
but
you
I played
go.
a little D-line sometimes.
But even though you went different routes in terms of school, you somehow stayed together and you continued to throw the ball. So how did that all happen?
Just like I said, we lived in the same area and we knew each other, and then we actually played in the All-Star game together, the Kensington Lions game.
Okay.
And we threw a lot that summer before we both went off to college. And at that point, like, I went away and he went on to, I think, ECC, and then we didn't really throw the ball for a couple of years. And then when I came back to Buff State, as soon as I told him, we started throwing again. So.
How about that? Did you ever think, I mean, so you guys lost communication, didn't continue talking, so there was never any, or was there, getting on the phone and saying, you know, I think I might go over to Buff State or something like that? It just happenstance?
I think when I was kind of deciding between Buff State and UB, I think I mentioned to Mike I might come to Buff State, and I was just making sure he was still here because I didn't know what he was doing. And
that's cool.
He said I should come here. So.
Oh, that's great. They talk about chemistry in all team games, and obviously there's a chemistry between a quarterback and wide receiver. We hear it all the time. Is there chemistry between you two? Do you kind of sense where he's going to throw the ball? Do you kind of sense where he's going to be, Michael?
Yeah, just last week, second play of the first drive, when I beat my guy, I had a good feeling. When I looked over my shoulder, the ball was going to drop right in my hands, which it did. So I'm pretty comfortable with his throws. Wherever I come in and out of my breaks, out of my routes, the ball is usually right there.
And on your part, same thing, you instinctively know where he is. How does that work? I mean, we hear about it, but it's out there?
Our offense is based on us reading the defense, so there's kind of sight adjustments, and I always know which one Mike is going to pick.
Okay.
Because the routes can change based on coverage, and me and Mike are always on the same page with what he's going to do, and I know when he's going to break, and he's real good at finding spots and zones where he gets open, so he just has a knack for getting in the open windows.
Well, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. It's a fabulous story, and one more game together at least. Yeah. This Saturday, November 9th, versus St. John Fisher at Coyer Field. Game time is noon, and it's a big game for the Bengals, a win, and maybe a loss the following week by St. John Fisher and ECAC playoffs. So best of luck, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, here's Joe's and Prose.
We've got a great new segment on Bengal Magazine. It's called Joe's and Prose, and every now and then we're going to go into the rink, maybe the basketball court, maybe the football field or the soccer field, and a Joe, just a common guy like you or me, is going to come out and try to challenge one of our student athletes in a competition. And today, it's hockey. So I want to introduce our first Joe, and that's Jeff Ventura. Jeff? Jeff is the assistant athletic director at Buffalo State and used to play hockey for us, but today he is a Joe. And now let's introduce the pro you're going to be shooting against, and that's Kevin Carr, a three-time all-conference goaltender. Kevin? Kevin, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Now, this guy says he can score goals off you. Can he score goals off you?
I guess I'll find out.
We will find out. Here's how it's going to work today, guys. Jeff's going to have 3 breakaways. If he scores twice.
One. Former defenseman over here.
All right. Are you okay with 1? If he scores once on our all-conference goaltender, he will win a gift card from Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shops. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. Jeff, are you ready? Jeff's ready. Kevin, you ready? Kevin's ready. Jeff, round 1. Here we go. Comes over to blue line. He's taking a look. He's got his head up and tries to slide it underneath, but no, he is denied by a nice pad save by Kevin. Round 2, Jeff, are you ready? Here comes Jeff Ventura on round 2. Carr comes way out, tries to deke. No! Another pad save by Kevin Carr. That is why he is all conference. Jeff, are you ready? Here we go. Last one, fakes the shot. And a blocker saved by Kevin Carr. And today's winner of Joe's and Prose is Kevin Carr. Come on out here, guys. So our first winner of Joe's and Prose goes to the student athlete. Although, Jeff, what did you just say?
I had him on the first one. I just missed the ice was clean, it would have gone in.
Hasn't every forward said that? I just missed, right, Kev?
Absolutely.
Thanks very much. We'll be right back with more Bengal Magazine.
Well, congratulations are going out to Rich Pete, junior business major on the football team. He is this week's Tim Horton Athlete of the Week. Rich had a career high 4 touchdowns in the 59-41 win at Hartwick. Rich's touchdown runs were 12, 4, 6, and 5 yards. He ended up the game with 132 yards on the ground, 16 carries. That averages out to about 8 yards a carry. So congratulations to tailback Rich Pete. I can't talk right now. The Tim Horton Athlete of the Week. And we're joined now by the men's hockey team. Everybody seems to be having fun in the studio except Tom right now, but that's okay. Nick Carriere joins us, the head coach of the Bengals, and bringing along Taylor Pryce, the freshman from Newmarket, Ontario. So we're going to find out how you make your way down to Buffalo State. But first, Nick, first time on the show, 2 games in. Before we talk about those games, give us a little synopsis on the team this year.
We lost five seniors due to graduation last year and lost a couple of returning guys along the way. Brought in 8 freshmen, 1 goaltender, 1 defenseman. If I do my math right, that's 6 forwards. And all except for 1 were in the lineup over the weekend.
Fabulous.
So I think our young guys have been given plenty of opportunity, and they've done some good things with those opportunities. And we're excited about what we have moving forward.
Well, let's go right to one of the young guys you're talking about. Taylor Pryce is here from Newmarket. And Nick, before I ask Taylor, and how did you find him, and how did the recruiting happen?
Well, Taylor played for North York Rangers in the OJHL, which is the same league that the Buffalo
Ontario
Junior Sabres play in. Yeah, Ontario Junior Hockey League. And we'd had our eyes on him a little bit from afar throughout the regular season, and then in the playoffs, they matched up against the Junior Sabres, so we had an opportunity to see him a lot. Mike Peck is the head coach over there and general manager, former Sabre, and he was very complimentary to Taylor's game, and as were we, both Jeremiah Crow and myself, as we had chances to see him play. And really, we just wanted to try to get him down here on campus, and it took us a little while to get him down here to kind of nail him
Playing hard
down.
to get, was he?
Playing a little hard to get, but once we did, we had some good time that we spent with him, and we actually recruited one of his teammates as well, Charles Lapierre, who's our homecoming king here.
Homecoming king.
So it worked out great, a little bit of a package deal, and we're excited to get Taylor to join our team.
Well, Taylor, was Buffalo State on your radar a couple years ago, or this seems like it just kind of evolved and all of a sudden happened?
Yeah, the way it kind of evolves so quickly, right? Like there's so many schools and so many options when you're younger, and then you kind of start seeing what's realistic and what makes a good fit.
Right.
And ended up being Buffalo State.
Well, what are we know your team goals. What personal goals for this season, especially as a freshman?
Personally, I just I didn't have any goals for points or goals, actual goals. Kind of stay away from that and just stick to my job. And
there you go.
And that's what I did in junior, and that worked out for me.
Is this guy going to score goals for you, or is he going to be more of a defensive forward?
He does a little bit of everything.
Great.
Taylor's been playing up with our captain, Mike Zanella, and Taylor plays the wing. He's had an opportunity early on to kill a lot of penalties. He's had some opportunities on the power play. He plays in a lot of different situations, but Taylor, he can really skate. He's got a strong stride to him, and he's a good enough size young man to him where when he decides to be physical, he can really wake some people up there, and he did that over the weekend.
Well, let's talk about those games over the weekend. We opened the season with a nice win at Cortland and a tough loss at Oswego, the 4th-ranked team in the country, and I believe last year's national runner-up.
Yep.
And so what do you take from those games, guys? Nick, likes, surprises?
First game of the year is always a little scattery. I think our systems were a little bit off, and our team play was everything was just a little bit off. I think when you get another team on the ice and they've been practicing for so long, it's sometimes it just takes that one game to get under your belt. So hats off to Cortland. I thought they played very well. I think we got fortunate with a couple of bounces, and I think Kevin stood tall and played well for us, Kevin Carr.
Okay.
So we were fortunate to come out with a couple points there, but you take those points and you run away with them.
No pictures in the box score, buddy.
No, not at all. Oswego a little bit different. I thought we played a much better team game, and it was just we had a goal called back, which was a tough situation. It was actually Taylor going hard to the net, and it was called a kick in, and he was just kind of
Kick it in, Taylor?
It's a tough call.
Well said, young man. Okay.
But, with that combined with just a couple of little hiccups that happened throughout the game, and they ended up putting them in the back of our net. But, we felt that we played well. We played well 5-on-5, and really just kind of needed to refine a couple aspects of our game to really carry the play.
How was it for you, the college game? I mean, you're playing an Ontario junior type brand of hockey. Now you're talking Division III hockey.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. Anytime you get to the next level, guys are bigger, stronger, faster. Definitely noticed that in my first shift against Cortland. And I knew coming in they were a heavy-hitting team. Okay. And so I kind of just stuck to my game, put my nose down, and worked hard.
We've got about a minute left in this segment, and I'm always curious about this conference. Just a fabulous conference. Where does it rate, Nick, in with the rest of the country in Division III? And I'm hearing great things about it. Is it one of the best conferences?
Yes, any coach in our league, it's the toughest league, top to bottom in Division III hockey.
Top to bottom.
You look at your Oswegos and your Plattsburghs that are typically top 10, top 5 in the country, year in and year out. Both of which are, one is either I think for the past 4 years, Oswego's won the regular season. Right. One of which is getting an at-large bid to the national tournament, and one's getting the automatic bid from our league championship. Over the past 4 years, that's gone on. And then you have Genesios, you have us that's been in the national rankings, you have the Fredonias that are always battling, and then from the bottom end teams over the past couple of years, the Brockports, the Cortlands, and the Morrisvilles are all sneaking to try to get back in there. Yeah, so there's no game off in our league.
Well, speaking of games, the Bengals open their home season Friday, November 14th against Potsdam. That's a 7 o'clock start. And then Saturday against Plattsburgh, the Bengals are home. That's November 15th, also at 7 o'clock. So if you're looking for some just terrific hockey, no matter what level, come on out to the Buffalo State Ice Arena and watch the Bengals. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back in the pool, and we're going to talk to Dan Allen. Stay with us.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Bengal Update. I'm Katie Brownell with a recap of news and a look at upcoming events surrounding Buffalo State athletics. Men's hockey opened its season on November 2nd by dropping a 4-3 decision to Oswego, ranked 4th in the country. After Oswego took a 1-0 lead in the first period, the Bengals answered with a goal by freshman Adam Rossi, his second goal in as many games. Oswego took a 2-1 lead in the second period, but the Bengals answered with a goal by freshman Taylor Pryce. Oswego led 3-2 when the Bengals appeared to tie the game, but the goal was ruled kicked in by a skate. Kevin Carr faced 53 shots in goal for the Bengals. The Bengals play at Morrisville on November 8th and 9th. Both basketball teams had exhibition games. The women's team dropped a 76-54 decision at Division I UB. The Bengals led by 3 early in the second half. Stacey McElroy led Buffalo State with 13 points. Olivia Luciani had 11 points, and Bianca Smiley added 10 points and 11 rebounds. The Bengals officially open their season November 15th when they host the annual Betty Abgott tournament. They play Penn State Harrisburg in the first game at 5 in the sports arena. The men's basketball team dropped its exhibition game to Division I Niagara. Chris Thompson came off the bench to lead the Bengals with 18 points. Justin Mitchell added 14 points and 8 rebounds, while Roderick Epps had 14 points. The Bengals will officially open their season on November 16th with a non-conference game at St. John Fisher. They open their home season with the annual Coles Tournament on November 22nd, taking on Ohio Northern at 8 in the sports arena. One last note from men's basketball. Former Bengal Glenroy Carr signed a 1-year contract to play professionally in China in China's National Basketball League. The power forward finished his Buffalo State career in 2011 with 918 career points and helped the Bengals to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. Back to you, Tom.
Well, thanks a lot, KB, for that update. And now we're joined by Dan Allen, the head coach of the swim programs, plural, here at Buffalo State. Dan's bringing along Tom Mermagen, a freshman from Plymouth, England. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, Dan, first time on the show, give us a little preview of what we can expect from the men's team first.
I brought in quite a few men's. Let's put it this way. It's quite different from last year.
Okay.
I only had one senior graduate, so I brought in about 4 or 5 new faces, Tom being one of them. Yes. a couple of swimmers, and a diver, too.
Okay.
Alex Fleet. Alex is probably one of the best divers in New York State. He got second in the state last year in diving. So Alex is very, very talented.
What high school from?
He is from Addison.
Okay.
Addison High School. So,
Okay.
And then I brought in Tom Pasquale, who's Kenmore East. So there you go.
We love the Bulldogs.
And then Ryan McHale from Lancaster, and then a couple other kids.
Fantastic.
So men's team right now, very young, very, very
Okay.
young. But to be honest with you, have a lot of promise. Very,
Great.
very, very promising.
And the women's team. I read somewhere where there may be depth in the women's team.
Yes,
Would you agree with? Oh my goodness gracious.
We have
Tell
depth.
me more.
Once again, we graduated Caitlin Mergler
Yes.
and a couple other seniors. Obviously, Caitlin, was one of our, top end swimmers. But we brought in a lot of depth and talent. Let's put it this way.
Fantastic.
I brought in a girl, transfer Michelle Del Ferro from Auburn, New York, who's very
Okay.
talented. Who's going to, test our breaststroke records this year. Brought in a international in Charlotte Archdeacon, who is friends with Tom,
Okay.
who's already a second off our 200 IM record in a first meet.
Wow.
And she's probably going to break it in season.
Wow.
And she's going to probably break our backstroke record.
Wow.
So if that tells you anything, how talented she is.
I can hear in your voice, I mean this sincerely, how excited you are
Oh,
about
I
this
am
season.
very excited.
You're ready to get out of here and start swimming. Let's go.
This is the first time in a long time that there's a lot of promise on both sides and a lot of potential, and I'm really excited about this year.
Well, let's talk about this guy next to you, Tom Mermagen from Plymouth, England. We're going to talk a little swimming, but obviously people are hearing Plymouth, England. Plymouth, England. How does he come to Buffalo, New York? Tell us a little bit about the recruiting and how this all happened.
Typically, I get emails from international student athletes all the time.
Okay.
They're basic, generic emails saying, "Hey, coach, I'm interested in your program," and then et cetera, et cetera. Here's my scores. Here's my times. Do you offer scholarships? Then usually the end conversation is they're looking for athletic scholarships. In Division III, we don't offer athletic scholarships. Tom's email was a little bit different. Right away, I've already applied, and I was like, this is great. So we talked over the phone. The little tricky part is trying to get him at the same time. Time difference was, I would call, his dad would pick up. No, he's at practice, or so we had to kind of, in a sense, find a time that worked. And I think it's like a 6 or 7 hour difference.
Yeah.
It was. So I finally got him on the phone. We talked a couple times, and to be honest with you, when he told me he was coming, I was really excited.
What? So the obvious question is, I mean, I may look stupid, but I'm not. I mean, why Buffalo State? How did you get into Buffalo State?
Well, when I was back home, I was just looking at institutions to go to.
Right.
Because I've always wanted to come to America. I always wanted to test my ability out in swimming and to see how the education system works over here. And then I was looking at universities, and Buffalo State just came up, and I really liked the look of it.
How about that?
Liked the look of the program. My course looked really good.
Right.
So I just put it out there.
And you're a sociology major now, and
Yep.
your specialty is the 50 and the 100 in the freestyle.
Yep.
Okay. What is swimming comparable in England as it is here? Or are we more advanced? How would you rate this?
It's always an interesting question people ask. Typically, America are like one of the best simulations in the world.
Yep.
And it's just different to how we are at home, as the fact that the access to facilities is quite short at home.
Okay.
So we've only had an Olympic-sized pool back where I'm from, my hometown, for about 4 or 5 months.
Oh my goodness.
And you could probably count the amount of them on 2 hands, if that, in the country.
How about that?
Yeah, so the standing of training is very good.
Okay.
It's just the facilities and trying to get the practice that we need in is difficult.
Right.
And when I heard about America, like the training that we get over here, it's just appealed to me instantly.
Isn't that it? And even, you're talking about facilities, even though we don't have one for one more year because Houston Gym's doing the $25 million renovation.
Yeah.
Just down the road, there's another one.
Exactly.
And here he is saying how scarce they are in England, and we're down the road at a nice pool, thankfully. But that's absolutely fascinating story. We got a couple minutes. We already opened the season, had a tri-meet at Monroe Community College.
Yeah.
How did that go? Any surprises? What did you like? Did it go the way you thought it would?
I thought we had some really good swims, solid swims for our first meet. Typically with the first meet, you usually get a mixed bag. You get some great swims, some okay swims, not so good swims. To be honest with you, we were more positive, great swims. So to be honest with you, I was happy about that. We swam up to our potential on the women's side. I thought we could win. and we did. We won on both sides. Our men lost a close meet with MCC. Came down to the last relay, to be honest with you, and that's always exciting when it comes down to the last relay. But it just shows the potential we have, and I have a lot of new faces. You know, half my team is new, so for them it's a lot of learning experiences, and I think we're going to grow and get better as the year goes on.
Fantastic. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bengal Magazine. Thanks to everybody here at Instructional Resources, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.